Hey, good morning everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report for Monday, April 23rd, 2018. I'm Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here is a look at the daily time frame of the ES. We continue to chop around the midpoint of the larger key range. That's very, very important here. You can see the midpoint 2703.75, and we continue to chop a little above it, a little below it, back and forth, and we really haven't moved away from that level. I mentioned before, this recent squeeze here could provide us a buy opportunity for a continuation, and in that case we would have wanted to see 69s remain bid. It kind of pulled back below that level Friday, kind of closed right around it, and today just a little bit above it. So again, not the best area to do business in this zone. We got to continue to watch it because again, we could continue to see a little bit of back and forth whipsaw type of behavior before we see the actual move. So again, I've been very cautious and hesitant around the middle point of this range here. It's much better to be active at the edges. Again, we have not seen an edge play since the beginning of February, so we have to continue to be a little bit more patient. Until then, we could continue to see further development within the middle portion of this range between basically 2616 and 2791. That's the real range right here, and as soon as we see expansion from this range, it could be rather significant, so we'll continue to watch it. But nothing really actionable at this moment. Again, if bulls can keep 69 bid, that could take prices back toward 2731 on a short-term basis, so we'll keep an eye on that short-term idea. Taking a look here at the NQ, you'll notice the NQ continues to look very similar to the ES, trading mostly inside the range here. We got outside a little bit here and here. Both of those were faded back across the range. Right now we continue to trade right here off the 66.53, holding as support at the moment. Again, that's kind of the short-term pivot. Holding that level could get us higher into 7K. Failing to hold that level rotates back down toward 6,300 and perhaps a little lower. So right now, right at the middle part of this range, got to be a little more cautious in this area because there's not as great of opportunities here. It's right around value, so you have to wait until prices are a little bit outside the range in order to fade it. But again, if prices can hold above 66.53, there's a short-term opportunity to return this thing back towards 69.17 and higher. Here's a look at crude oil. Now, crude oil has been quite bullish. This one has broken through the top of this kind of ascending pattern here, broke through the top, came back, made its support, and quickly pushed higher. We're getting closer and closer to the 70.41 level that we've been talking about, and overall holding the 66 level to 66.29. That is kind of the top of the key range here, so that is the level that needs to continue to hold. As soon as that level fails to hold, that could be an opportunity to return it back down. So right now, pullbacks into the trigger zone to be defended as deep as 66 for a shot at continuing into 70 and perhaps into that 70.41. Short term, a little bit of a pullback, but you could begin to see strength into the 66s. Alright, lastly here, let's take a look at gold. Gold right now pushing downward. Again, I have been standoffish on this one as well. We've had a great range that has developed for the first quarter of the year, and now we're seeing, an extra month on top of that. We saw a little bit of rounded off behavior, but at the same time, I mentioned 1375 is big time, and it's going to take a lot of juice to get through that level, and that's why it's been building up enough. But if it can't go right now, you usually see price pull back, retrade back to 1300, and then try again. So getting a move back down right now into as low as 1328.90, we could see a little bit more weakness out of this one toward 1300, 1305. But again, nothing really actionable when you're right at the center of the range. So very difficult to execute a bias here and be paid if you're already executing right near value. So again, short-term wave downward, failed new highs, pullbacks could be an opportunity to push it a little bit lower. Once it gets here, it could be a better fade opportunity back up. Taking a look at Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin has been quite bullish here short term. We saw the push higher out of that narrow range. Very tightly coiled price action here. Major breakout, pushed higher, held for another 5 days. I mentioned that if this were to pull back to 72.50, it offers a great buy into 9,500 and 9,900. And you can see we've already traded all the way back to 9K. So it's been a very, very nice rally here. Did not pull back much at all. Instead, it held for a couple days and then now rallied up. So again, very bullish behavior here, going from basically 64.80 and then rallying now into 9K, getting a high of 89.80. So we could see a little bit more weakness here, but as I've mentioned before, the real level up here, nothing really starts to happen in Bitcoin until this thing gets above 1200. Once you get above that level right there, that's when things really start to get interesting. So right now we continue to trade between basically 6500 and 1200. And that's why I mentioned before, if price can take out 6K here, it could be a double back toward 12K. We're already marking that move right now higher, and any pullback could still be a buy. But again, nothing really happens until we get above this level on a longer term basis. But this is quite a tradable range for now. Alright, that's it for now. Let's see how this thing plays out heading into the new week of trading. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you soon.